Part of our mission at Sarasota Opera is one of education. You can see that in our youth opera production, educating young people about what opera is. But it continues on to our patrons and the people who come to our performances to expose them to a world beyond just the favorites that are presented by most opera houses as some part of their season.
By finding repertoire that our audiences don't necessarily know, it expands their knowledge of the operatic form. It gives them access to different kinds of works, different genre, different composers that they may not have seen before. The variety of languages, the variety of stories. There's such a wealth of repertoire that by expanding out of the standard repertoire, we give people the opportunity to experience something new.
I think we could look at these pieces in the history that they're involved in, and it lets us see that the opera has grown over the years, and opera has changes over the years, and that change is brought about by many composers, many librettists, many of whom we don't know, but they're still responsible for that growth.
Working with Sarasota Opera, I've had the opportunity to get to know all these operas that I've never even heard of, most of them. I mean, Philanthropy was one that really stuck in my mind as an opera that made a huge impact because I would never have heard that score or probably even had that cross my path in my career unless Sarasota had championed to program it. And so by Sarasota programming these things for their artists, I felt just an overwhelming amount of growth personally in my career with how I interpret music and interpret characters.
Well, I consider Sarasota Opera my home company. I've been coming here for the past 20 years. So many of the roles I've performed now in other places of the world, I sang here for the first time. In my case, also with all the rarities by Verdi that I have done here, it also helped me to understand. I've done already 15 different operas by Verdi. So I think it helps me to understand him as a composer, how he developed into composing for the voice. And then it makes easier for me to do any work by Verdi, you know, no matter what stage of his career it is.
Last year, we contributed to the Artistic Achievement Fund, which we think is important in that it helps to substantiate the production of lesser performed operas. In addition, it helps to offset some of the increased costs that I know are incurred, especially in recent years. We think it's that important to this town, to this city, to sustain on an ongoing basis the excellent opera that we have here in town.
Obviously, you're not going to have an opera unless there's philanthropy and people give money. Once you retire, after you've worked your whole life, you haven't had the money or the time to indulge yourself with the arts. So I think it's very important because it is a learning experience for all of us.
And one of the things about opera is the music Not just the singers, I mean, it's the orchestra. Music is important to us. Giving back is important. Leaving a legacy, I mean, making sure your community is solid with organizations that will make it a very well-rounded community. So that's kind of philanthropy to us. It's giving back and ensuring the future has a lot there for people.
I think it's vital for us to do these kinds of works in our season, but it's also true that they're never as popular as the marquee titles like a Carmen or Bohème, a Tosca. So we can do fewer performances, which means less in ticket revenue. To make up the difference, we need philanthropy.